You're the murderer that killed Yi Donglu. Why? You're wearing inner armor. You must have been prepared for this since you're not shocked either. When did you spot the flaws? There were many flaws. You and Shui Jinping are similar in height and shoe size, but it's only similar, there are still some differences. Yesterday evening, I saw you looking at the fish under the tree. Looking at fish gave me away? You didn't, but the fish did. After you left, I went over and took a look out of curiosity. I found that in addition to the koi swimming around, there were also many mullets, catfish, and others. No one was feeding them, but they gathered in a group somewhere and lingered. I was a little puzzled at the time but didn't think much of it. It wasn't until just now, when I found a rotten watercress leaf on the robes in the sack, that I suddenly understood. Those blood-soiled clothes weren't buried in the ground at first but were thrown into the pool. The smell of blood attracted the fish. You realized that would give you away, so you took the sack back overnight and buried it here. But the sack was wet, so it soaked up the soil. I'm not as good as you when it comes to noticing the smallest things. Hiss. I should have realized. On the day of the banquet of grace and honor, the two people arguing at the back of the courtyard weren't the Prince of Yu and Yi Donglu. It was you and Yi Donglu. That day I saw the prince walking out from behind me, so I mistakenly thought that he was arguing with Yi Donglu. Yi Donglu said he will show his resolution through death, but what was the resolution he spoke of? Did you have a secret relationship with him, found out he had an affair with the Prince of Yu, and then tried to reason with him? Yet when he flatly denied it and swore with his life, you believed him. And when the examination results were out, Yi Donglu was quickly promoted to the Ministry of Revenue and proved that he committed adultery. So you set off with a plan to kill him out of love and hatred, isn't that so? I can understand that you hate the Prince of Yu, so you framed him, but why do you want to involve me? What does this have to do with me? How is it irrelevant? When he heard that his owner had a new love interest, he became unhappy, and even came back to me to complain and ask for help. I endured my disgust and consoled him that since he chose to rely on the Prince of Yu, he should have expected such consequences. New interest? The Prince of Yu is just back at his old ways. But Yi Donglu figured you were someone special. He even said that as long as he could retain the prince's affection and get him to stop looking at you, he would be willing to die. So you killed him? He's rotten to the core. I've been in the same class as him for 4 years. We flirted, yet I stopped at that out of courtesy. And how did he repay me? On one hand, he spoke of showing his resolution through death, on the other, he committed adultery with the Prince of Yu, and when his benefactor got tired of him, he came back to find me. Why are people so despicable, you say? Yi Donglu turned his back on you. Whatever outcome he gained was his business, but you shouldn't have murderous intentions and sink yourself into such a mess. Besides, if you hated him that much, you could have found a dark corner to snuff him out. But you couldn't bear to see him die off silently without a trace. Not only did you want to use his death to cleanse his soul, but you also wanted his death to shock an audience. You wanted to take revenge against Prince of You, and to punish me, the new love interest who inadvertently caused him to lose favor. Alerting Consort Wei was just an accident. It wasn't in your plan. And if I was successfully framed by you and died in such an unjustified way, would your killing stop? It wouldn't. You would continue to sweep away love rivals for him out of your complicated feelings for Yi Donglu. The last thing he said was that he hoped Prince Yu would no longer be tempted by anyone and would always remember him. This was his cherished wish before and after his death. Since I have decided to see him off with my own hands, I am obliged to fulfill it for him. Wei Chen. Your parents wanted you to have a heart that is clear of dust and untainted. In the end, you failed them by bearing that name. You're not a mirror that can clearly dissect everything you see from the surface. The dirt that's sprawling on my robes is just external. You have no idea what kind of integrity I have within. No matter how untainted one may look from the exterior, it may still expose a turmoiled heart. I do not wish to be beheaded in public and reviled by those merchants and laymen. Give me a quick death. I'm not in the position to act on it, nor do I wish to act upon it. Otherwise, what's the difference between you and me? Although I had ulterior motives and malice, when I got to know you, there were times where I wanted to give up on taking your life. However, Yi Donglu's splattered blood on my hands reminded me day and night that a person like me, deep in mud, had no right to redemption. I shouldn't even have such thoughts. With just one wrong step, everything falls into chaos. Come to think of it, he won't be able to escape a tragic ending either. Just like the poem, he prophesied, lonely geese cry against the cold, and the chilly moon radiates without a shadow against 1,000 rivers, lonely yet bold. It was all foreshadowed.